Okay, let me introduce. I'm Scott from the Mama Tried Show. It's March 5th, 2022. I'm on stage with Frazier and Warren Heir Jr., my partner, and Warren Heir Sr.
Yo, Scotty,
our
what's
good
up,
friend.
man?
Yeah. So, wanted to have you guys up here to talk about. I don't know. I guess maybe Junior's origin story. So I've known Junior for a few years, and he's kind of the reason that I got interested and really fell in love with choppers. And I've always admired your two relationship. And I just wanted to sort of talk about how you guys, growing up, Junior grew up in a house where you always had a shop, right?
Always.
Yeah, we first started out having the shop in my house over on Route 134, as I remember.
And what year was this?
Well, we got married in 77, and Grandma gave us a down payment for a house right away. Like 78 we moved in, I believe.
And this is in Round Lake, Illinois?
Yeah, Round Lake. I think it was the beach back over there. And then we moved over to the Round Lake Heights. They had some commercial property over there. We wanted to build a pole barn. It had a 6-car garage right next to the house already. So the first winter I moved in there and worked. Then we had a pole barn built, and I moved all my stuff into the pole barn, and we've been there for 33 years. We had a dyno in the back garage one time. Junior was my dyno operator along with Limo.
You see Lee
Monroe?
You see Lee anymore?
I do see him, yeah. Yeah, he's still flying for United.
Tell him I said hi.
Okay, he's a captain. He's a cool guy.
We used to run, when I started phasing out over the shop, he would fill in and help the Senior when it comes to the dyno. I was the only one that knew how to run it.
How old were you when you started running the dyno?
I think I had graduated college already by then, so
yeah.
I don't know. How old are you when you graduate college? 20-something?
Early 20s.
20-something.
All right.
Got to fly to California and go to class and learn how to run it, and then it was almost like having a little business in a business.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool.
It was, it's all computer work, and yeah. I'm not that.
Okay.
I'm just the mechanical guy. I taught him all the mechanic stuff.
Would that be a separate, was that a separate, you added it as a component of the business because it would bring in people who wanted to test their bikes?
Absolutely, sure. We would have a party once a year for all the customers, Customer Appreciation Day. And I had a good friend of mine, Dan, who had a dyno in a trailer. And he'd bring the dyno over there, and we'd give everybody free food and a lot of dyno runs, and we learned a lot there. That was fun.
Like everybody would put their bike up and do like a horsepower thing.
Let's see a challenge, see who could.
Who's got the fastest bike, or whose bike would blow up first.
Did some blow on the dyno?
I don't think we did blow up anything.
They'd fucking rattle apart though.
Oh yeah, shit was flying off them.
Really?
Yeah, don't stand behind a dyno.
Yeah, you can stick a chopper up there, you never know what's going to fly off.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, that's in everyday life too, right?
Right. Yeah, don't ride behind Warren.
And was your mom was working there too? Was your mom working at the counter?
Everybody.
At the counter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and your sister too?
No, Kat didn't.
Not so much with Kat. No,
Mom was always like driving force, like up front, knew all the catalogs, did all the orders.
Yeah, and we got computerized early on through Counterman out of California. Okay. And that worked really well, except it was very expensive, so we had to dish that after a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You did it, and then you went back to just like the regular paper catalog?
Yeah, well,
system?
when the bad times showed up in, 08, 09?
Yeah.
Things went to shit.
Enron.
I moved back into the 6-car garage and got out of the pole barn and started renting the pole barn to guys that were selling used cars.
Okay.
And that's when I got rid of all that. And then Doug set me up with QuickBooks. Doug's my computer guy.
Okay, Dougie.
Yep.
Right.
I say his last
Dougie
name, but I
Smalls.
can't pronounce it.
Swoidrock?
You ought to hear my phone.
Doug Rock.
When he calls and the girl tries to pronounce his name on my phone, Doug. Okay.
What nationality is Doug, by the way? Where does the name come from?
He is a Puerto Rican something else. He's a mix. Yeah. He's a mutt. Just like the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. How did you get into building Harleys?
I went in the Navy when I was 18 years old. And when I came out, I had some GI Bill to use. And I was working in a dead-end job in McHenry at a factory. And one of my buddies had a newspaper ad about going to a motorcycle mechanic school in Chicago. I had a grandma living in Chicago right on the north side, so I signed up. Government paid for it. And I learned how to work on we took a Sportster, which was in a frame and it was running, but people would take it apart every class. We took the thing, split it apart, even split the flywheels, retrued the flywheels between two tables. That's as close as we could get because the next group was going to do the exact same thing. And we got it running again. It was the highlight of my training.
That's
awesome. It was good. Yeah, I learned how to break down a 4-speed transmission, big twin. I just got done doing one of them the other day, as a matter of fact.
And how long did the course take to learn it back then?
Well, it was about 6 weeks, and I basically got
pretty fast.
The basics, yeah. But then right after that, I got a job at Lakeshore Harley Davidson in Waukegan, January 1st, 1975. I'll never forget that date. And little Carl, the engine builder, was there, and he taught me the rest. He was my mentor.
That's pretty great.
I'm still working with him 47 years later.
Really?
He's still rebuilding bottom ends for me out of his garage in his house.
Get out.
Yeah. It's a good relationship.
He's pretty rad.
Yeah.
He's just a little dude. He was really fast on the drag strip. He's got a lot of history at the Grove.
I saw him race one time at the Grove. It was just the prettiest hole shot I ever seen, man. He just lifted that bike up and poof, like an arrow coming off a boat.
Yeah, he's tiny too. Just a little person, so he's perfect for it.
What kind of motor was in it?
Hell if I know.
It was an Ironhead. Yeah, old Ironhead.
And then tell him about the time was it Carl that lost his shoe?
Yeah. In the back of Lakeshore Harley, the front of it had a showroom, with a flat roof, and in the back was a big Quonset hut. So where we worked was this big, tall, round ceiling, and little Carl was kicking over an Ironhead Sportster with a magneto, and little guy that he was, he didn't get all the way through the stroke, and it threw him over the handlebars. His shoe flew off and hit the roof of the Quonset hut. His knee was bad for weeks after that. That was sad.
I'll never kick a Sportster again.
That was a sad day.
Little Chris's bike just kept blowing me up.
Oh, man.
Not interested.
Are you still hurting from that thing?
No, I'm all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like I had good enough reflexes where it wouldn't fully hyperextend. Just like 10% of it. I had to lay down on the ground and cry for a while.
Oh, yeah.
How does Chris do it?
He's good.
Yeah.
Saw him last night.
Yeah.
You see him wipe out?
I saw the video of it. I did not see it.
What was that about?
He was on the side hack mini bike in inappropriate
bike
class.
side hack.
And Loyal was his monkey, right?
Loyal showed me the video.
They were doing that?
Yeah.
I missed that. Oh, I did see them coming around. I didn't realize that was Chris and Loyal.
Yeah. Yeah, and Loyal, they both come sliding around the corner and just slammed into the concrete wall.
Loyal said
I
because
missed that one.
he was laying over the rear, he wasn't even watching where he was going. He was trying to get the thing to turn. So he didn't even know that he was coming up on the wall. He just saw the track kind of running on track, and he was like, at a split second of like, uh-oh, and then boom. But he must have done a good job building it because it didn't come apart, and they hit the wall pretty hard.
He was still riding at the end.
Yeah.
And then he got it running again, and like it tried to take off on him. Did a wheelie to run behind it.
Little Chris is a character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, speaking of characters, Uncle Wayne.
Yeah, my brother.
Tell us a little bit about Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayne is funny as hell, and he's got a great memory. My memory just sucks ass bad. He remembers things that I've never even thought of for 40 years, And he's my brother. He's been working with me for all these years. A couple years ago, I laid him off because I didn't have enough money to pay him anymore. He's got bad eyes, so he's been complaining about quitting because he can't see nothing. Hang in there, you'll be all right.
He's always been like hit or miss.
Yeah.
Uncle Wayne, you never know which one you're gonna get, right? And I spent a lot of time with Wayne when I was younger. He'd take me around to all the racetracks, and they're big into NASCAR.
Uncle Wayne and Uncle Lurch were big into stock cars.
Okay.
Uncle Lurch once a year, and I did this one year with him too. Down south, I forget, it starts with an S. the strip. There's a dirt track. They would take a street car, break out all the glass, tie the doors together with chains, and go out and race. And that was a hoot.
It's the first time I smelled marijuana. I was with Uncle Wayne and Uncle Lurch.
Yeah, Uncle Lurch was a real pothead. That's for sure. He was a Marine.
6'6" Marine.
Yeah.
This is a brother, you were in the Navy with him, right?
Yeah, Wayne and I were on the USS Enterprise together in Vietnam. So we are both Vietnam vets. Although he pissed somebody off, and they sent him to land in Vietnam. I wasn't that stupid.
He was building bombs or something, wasn't he?
He was building. He was a mineman on the ship. I think he.
Story.
Yeah, I think he was putting the fuses together on the bombs, and they were in Hawaii getting ready to go back online to Vietnam, and they were practicing launching planes off the deck of the ship, and one of the missiles underneath the wing of one of the planes took off and started blowing the hell out of that ship. They had several 500-pound bombs blow up on the flight deck. A missile came down through the decks and out the back of the ship, just above with the water line. And I come to find out that would have been right next to my berthing compartment had I been there at that point, but I wasn't. I met them after that, after they got back to Vietnam.
Just welded up the hole.
Yeah, they took they had an aft elevator to bring planes up and down from the hangar bay, and they didn't have time to fix it, so they just welded it shut and took off to Vietnam.
Old school Blue Water Navy.
Yeah,
it's really cool, man.
Yeah, Wayne was down in his hole putting bombs together at the time. And the Navy films everything, which is pretty cool. If you ever go on YouTube, you can see that whole thing blow up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it started happening, they get after it.
Oh, they film everything on board that ship, on the flight deck. And when it was taken off, it was blowing up, they had film of it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was pretty hairy.
Gnarly.
I've seen it.
You should go into the, since Lurch and Wayne are on topic, the ride for head.
Yeah. That, by the way, was my idea.
What's that?
The ride for head. In 1977, four of us, me, Uncle Wayne, Lurch, which is Gilbert, and Uncle Paul, we took off for California on our bikes. And
I owned Wayne's bike.
I thought it was pretty smart back then, so I told Lurch, let's name this ride the Ride for Head. And if you get some head and you talk her into giving me some head, then we put a hash mark on the helmet, and when we come back, we see who's got the most hash marks. So, needless to say, it worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah,
that was a trip I'll never forget. I'll tell you.
Didn't you flip a bike? Didn't you flip a bike on the way out to California?
No, Gil did. Lurch. He's a madman. He was just out of Vietnam, Marine, 6'6", built like a brick shithouse, and it was a chopper, an Amen frame, big twin chopper.
Yeah.
And that thing just fell apart because he rode it like full bore all the time. First time he went through
he's just a monster too. It's
is.
It's a kind of a big bike, big chopper. I remember climbing on it as a kid, but I can imagine him just 100 miles an hour down the highway. You guys trying to catch up with him?
It had a King Sportster gas tank on it, regular front end, and that Amen frame was a real treat. It fell apart on us in South Dakota on the way to the Black Hills. Yeah. But he took out the first thing he did was he took out a barbed wire fence, took out his front brake hose, a bunch of shit. We come into this one town looking for some help from a local guy, and we went into this restaurant, and he's dragging his feet coming into town because he had no brakes. The oil tank was leaking so bad that oil was dripping down and going into the rear caliper because we had it turned upside down. So it was just mush, Yeah. And the front brake line was cut. So this waitress told us about these two old brothers that lived right down the street here that had a big machine shop. They had a building with a lathe in it, almost the whole length of this building. It was just unbelievable. And these guys, we sat and worked with them all day long, and they fixed his brake hose. He took the oil tank out and brazed it back together. Took the brake apart and cleaned the oil out of it. He even sewed the bottoms of his shoes because when he was sliding into town, the shoes were flapping. And at the end, they go, well, how much we owe you? $6 ought to cover it. And I go, okay. And those guys told us stories, just crazy stories of what they did. One time, a PT boat was coming through town on a flatbed, and it was falling off, and they had to shore it up for the Navy.
The trips like that need people like Lurch and like you, right? Like, you have to have a cast of characters to make it through.
No question.
There's somebody who's going to drive it and keep it interesting, but you got to make sure that you have the mechanic to.
Well, I was there. My leather saddlebag wore a hole in it from all my tools going in there. The worst part that he almost killed himself in Yachats, Oregon. We're on an ocean drive, and I mean, you go off the road, you're down in the rocks, you're dead. And that's where he went off the road. But being the gorilla he was, he fought it, he kept it going. And when he finally got off the road, there was trees hanging out of the side of the hill, and that stopped him. Me and Paul rode together, and Wayne and Lurch rode together. So me and Paul are way up this hill, and we're looking down there. What the fuck is going on down there? So we go back there, and he's hot. He's got his trying to cover his bike up so we can't take pictures of him crashed. The local tow truck driver comes up here. He goes, "Where's the dead guy?" And he hooked up the bike, took us back to his house, half a mile down the road. We spent a week there fixing that bike. Took the fork tubes got bent, so we had to take him to a machine shop a few miles away, and they straightened it back out again. It was like that the whole trip.
What about when you used to roll into town and the cops would just?
That was fun too. Yeah, we would stay at KOA campgrounds or whatever we could. You know, we weren't showering regular, that's for sure. And we came into this one campground, and the kids just loved us. You know, and they would look at the bikes and this giant of a guy who was friendly. He loved kids. So we got we paid for our camping for the night, and the guy goes, well, okay, well, here's where you're going to go. And I'm looking at him like, uh-oh, this ain't going to be good. He's telling me where we're going to go park. Go down the road, take a right, go over this little bridge, and that's where you can camp out. Well, they had picnic tables there that were overgrown with weeds. They hadn't cut it in 10 years, I'll bet. That's where they wanted us to go. We just turned around, came back, got our money back, said, see ya, sorry. Left, and there's a cop out at the street waiting for us to leave. But then another time in, what's that song the Eagles do about seeing the girl in the flatbed Ford?
Take it easy.
Take it easy. What's the name of the town?
Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah, Winslow. So we're in Winslow, Arizona, and we're on this 4 or 5 lane road just coming into town. And we're all the way in the right. We wanted to go left, so we crossed over all the lanes and turned left. And then we pulled into a restaurant, maggoty as ever, and a cop came up behind us and wrote Gilbert, the biggest guy in the group, writes him a ticket for wrong lane usage or something. And he said, I'm just going to tear this ticket up when you walk away. In fact, watch this. He tore it up right in his face. Said, see ya. And then another time he got another ticket. Everybody was always picking on Gil for some reason. His headlight blew out from all his full throttle shit. So he was in the back of the pack, and we're going down the road. We could see where we're going. You know, our 3 lights were taking care of it. Cop goes by, comes back, pulls us over, tells the 3 of us, you guys just go up the road a piece, or I'll deal with this guy. And Gil gives him that story again about, I'm just going to rip that fucking ticket up as soon as you leave. So the cop got smart. Okay, motherfucker. He puts him in the back of the squad car, takes him to a mailbox, and makes him put the money in the envelope and mail it. And then he brought him back. And while we were on the side of the road waiting, some guys in a flatbed pickup truck were going to take his bike. We had to go back and
No way.
keep them away from there, yeah. I think the cop probably called them up and said, hey, there's a bike on the side of the road for you guys to take. Welcome to Arizona.
Yeah.
My bike didn't break down one time. My brother, he blew out a circuit breaker one time. Paulie was on an Ironhead Sportster in a Savior Amen frame, and his generator took a shit in Arizona because it was so hot. But other than that,
What were you on?
I was on, me and my brother had twin 1976 Super Glides. And I had put in, they were the color nobody wanted. They were orange, bright orange. Nobody wanted them. So we each bought one from Frank. He gave it to him for a good price.
Frank was
Frank
owner.
Blazevich. He owned Lakeshore Harley.
Right.
And mine never made it on the road black. I put fat bobs on it and painted it black.
The 6 over front end.
Where was I going? No, it did have 6 over. 6 bend pullbacks on it. King, queen, tall sissy bar. When I was working at Lakeshore, all I did all day long was break open bikes out of crates, put the handlebars on them, get them running, and then the customers would have us change exhaust, handlebars, sissy bars, and seats. I mean, that's pretty much my day, all day, for a couple of years, yeah.
Right, the early days of Harley P&A.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good old AMF days. But thank God they were there to save them from going under, because here we are today, and they're still alive.
Yes, exactly.
I thank them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
Warren and I?
This story.
You know, I can't really remember. I remember talking to you at Rocker Box, but I think it was because we got introduced from Cook.
Oh, Dave.
Dave Cook.
Yeah.
And Ben.
JP.
Little
and
Ben.
No idea. No fucking clue.
2012.
Well, 8 or 9 years ago, I would guess. 10
2013.
years,
I
maybe.
just feel like it was more.
2011.
10 years ago. Let's go with 10.
Okay.
Tell the
Nice
story
round number.
about the how Mama Tried came about. What you said to Junior.
I feel like we tell this story all the time, and how could you
That's
not
okay.
have heard
I'd
the
like to
story
hear
about
it. It's a good one.
Well, yeah, I said to Warren, because I was enamored with chopper stuff. I had just started kind of learning about choppers, and it was new to me. I was racing Arma, and my world was mostly like kind of cafe racer-ish, Arma, some dirt stuff, flat track.
Sure.
And so I hadn't really been that well versed in Harley stuff at all. And so when I met Warren, we just like hit it off right away, and his friends, met Kendall, met Little Ben, and I was just like, I had always been enamored with chopper culture, but I just hadn't really had any inroads. And I finally met some guys that I really grooved with, and so I was just, I was like this little pestering kid. Like, what about that? How does those springers work? How do you ride a hardtail? Do you let your air out of the tires? Like they're super dumb shit. Do they leak a lot of oil? The kind of like these. Because when I was coming up, there weren't really many Harley guys in my world, and so I had been like fed these myths that like, oh, they never run and they leak oil all the time. Meanwhile, I'm messing with these like old British, Italian, Japanese shit that never fucking ran all the time. Maybe it didn't leak oil, but it never ran. So anyway,
Especially the British crap.
yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Lucas, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, backwards wiring.
So when Warren and I first met, I was like, questions, and he answered all of them. And he was always asking me about flat track stuff, racing Arma, why do people do this? Why do people do that? Why do you ride this? And so I was like, well, we should, Rocker Box was just wrapping up. That show had kind of gotten out of control and just turned into just a wild ass party, which was great, but we were a small business, and the liability was like really making me nervous, and I just wasn't into it anymore. The bikes that it was just whatever showed up, and it was cool, and it was a great time, but I really wanted to do a curated show. I wanted to have all the competition bikes that I had seen in my world, but those guys never show that stuff. If you're walking through the pits at an Armor race or at a hill climb, that stuff is only there for the people that are in the pits. No one else ever sees it. And I was like, let's have and I said to Warren, like, let's have a show where like you could invite all your friends and bring cool chopper shit, and we'll get, a bunch of like really cool competition bikes. And he was like, fuck that.
I hate fucking bike shows.
I hate fucking bike shows. I'm not doing a fucking bike show. And I was like, whoa. Because I didn't know, I had no idea.
Well, that's because all the bike shows he ever went to as a kid growing up in my shop in Chicago and wherever, World of Wheels, it was just a competition. Everybody would judge the prettiest bike or this bike or that bike.
No, just
and they're
anything
handing
and
out
everything.
trophies. He wasn't into that. He just wanted to have people get together and mingle about the choppers.
Yeah, I always got so excited to go, and like just got so let down because it's a bummer. It's just a bunch of dudes that are like puffing their chest out and jumping on their
vibing
bikes that
each
were
other.
bullshit, and it was like
And they're all sitting next to their bikes and folding chairs.
mean mugging everybody.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
built
it's
a
like-
bike for a guy at one of those shows. It was a Sly Stallone copy of one of his bikes. And, I mean, we chromed everything on that
Gold plating.
bike. Gold, chrome.
like a-
The frame was chrome. The cases were chromed. In fact, the chrome plater in Chicago ruined the one case so bad he had to buy the guy new cases and re-chroming it.
It had like a horse head molded onto
Yeah.
the neck or something.
No, it was green. It was dark emerald green, and on the side of the gas tank was a horse, like a fast-looking horse going on the racetrack.
It wasn't molded on the frame
No,
too?
it wasn't molded on the frame.
Oh.
Not that I can remember.
I wonder if that bike's still around.
Good question.
We should look it up.
Was it cool?
We went to the show and we saw it there. It was
Was
cool.
it like so bad it's
for
good
the day?
kind
It was
of thing?
well,
Yeah.
you know, it was a gaudy
Yeah.
chopper.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't call it chopper.
No, it wasn't a chopper. It was stock frame. And
Stock
Okay.
frame, but just
Yeah.
like anything you can think of to be chrome or gold plated, it was done.
Liberace.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Sly was into. You know, he liked the flashy.
All right.
So we copied his bike. I mean, we did a pretty good job of it too. I don't know if he won first place or not, but
Yeah, and then like the shows would have all the bullshit leather things, or like the bins of tools, or
The do-rags and the sunglasses.
yeah, and then it was always a big competition at the end, and like you put all the time and effort into building your bike, and then at the end the judges give away awards and stuff, and it just kind of ruins the mood for 95% of the people that are there.
yeah, because the judges are sucking off their buddies and giving them the trophies.
I did win one trophy one time from who's the guy that owned the drag race? Bob, Broadway
Yeah,
Bob.
Broadway Bob, yeah. Union Grove.
Super kind of like famous dude. Used to ride the front of jet cars down the drag strip.
He was a wild son of a bitch.
He was
that
a
old guy.
playboy back in the day, and he used to wander around with his like martini sunglasses and marijuana shirt, old hippie. And he wandered around one time and gave my bike the best bike in the show as like the guest judge. That was pretty fucking cool. Remember going to the Bubba's Honda drop?
Oh yeah.
You take like just hundreds of Hondas and hang them from this crane and just
Drop
bash them.
I remember seeing pictures in a book back then.
Yeah.
I remember like camping. They'd take me out to this just wild ass biker party where they're smashing Hondas, and I must have been like 8,
Yeah, probably.
10
Where was it?
at the Grove.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So tell them about the first bike you rode on the street. You remember that?
That was a red hardtail that we built.
It was a.
Oh the one with the graphite kind of paint job thing.
It was an expensive bike. It was a $30,000 bike back in the day, and I put him on that, and I grabbed a bike, and Mom's out there taking pictures of Junior's first ride. It was cool. I must admit. I got a kick out of it.
Yeah, it was this wild like '90s fucking. What would you call it? Like Arlen Nessie?
Yeah, Arlen Nessie. Arlen was one of my heroes. I love Arlen Ness, man. He
Absolutely.
built
Made some great
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was one of the biggest custom chrome dealers in Illinois. In fact, I was the biggest custom chrome dealer in Illinois. They had a full-size 18-wheel truck and trailer that they would send to shops. I got them in my shop twice. And we used to go to the Custom Chrome Dealer Show in California, and I met John Reed, who I'm still seeing on Instagram right now. He was one of the Custom Chrome's designers. In fact, if you go on Instagram and you see John Reed, you'll see sketchings of some of the stuff he was thinking about building. Far out dude, man. He was building some wild shit.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
John Reed.
Yeah, John Reed.
Okay.
I love.
Is he the one to design all that like Mirage stuff for?
Yeah, he was the one that did the whole Mirage line, and we'd go once a year, us and as a family, down to Cincinnati to the dealer show, and I love that show because we got to meet everybody. Anybody was in the business. Arlen Ness and Reed and
Arlen Ness caught me taking a piss in a flower plant one time.
I don't doubt that at all.
Arlen and his son Corey walked up. We were staying at the hotel. It was like a Marriott or something. And they're taking a piss, and Arlen Ness and Corey walk up like,
Yeah, I forgot that one.
Was he a wild card?
yeah, they were fun. They had a good time.
They were bikers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Doing biker things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. As a kid, like going and seeing all them folks and like mingling and having enough balls to walk up. Like I met Jesse James the first time over there, and like that was in the heyday when Discovery Channel was big, and Larry and Jesse and Kano and Paul Cox, all those boys were famous, and then we'd go over there and rub elbows and get fucked up with all of them.
Yeah, we'd always have an industry party, where everybody get all fucked up, and that was fun. That was
we tried to hit every party.
I at a table one time at a dinner.
A lot of underage drinking with all that.
Me and the wife went to a dinner one time at one of their fancy dinners, and at the table next to me was the guy from Iowa who had the museum, John Parnham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got to see him. I didn't get to meet him, but I got to see him. Highlight of my day. But that was fun. You'd meet everybody in the industry, and you'd stand there and talk to them. And next time I was on the phone, I'd say, "Hey, John from Revere Engineering. Hey, buddy." And hey, Warren, how you doing? And it just made a connection.
Right.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
That made him accessible. You always kind of feel like, they have like a celebrity kind of status, right? And then when you meet them, you realize it's just normal dudes like us. And
exactly.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. It was. I loved going to that Cincinnati show. And then it kind of faded out. They don't have it anymore.
Did you came with us when we did, so like when I came into the business, we would do it more, and then we went out to, I don't know where it was. It was probably Cincy. When Biltwell started to come onto the scene.
Who?
Biltwell.
Yeah.
Bill and Mike are upstairs.
Actually, they moved from Cincinnati to another city for a while. Not Columbus, but south of Columbus.
I'm pretty sure it was Cincy. And Bill and Magoo threw this wild-ass party in Cincinnati with some BMX kid, a big long beard. He was on what's that show where you go on the island and you try to Survivor?
Oh yeah, right. They're still doing that show, by the way.
He's got this band that it's like a fucking hardcore gnarly band, and they dress up, and the lead singer would have no shirt on, and one of those like those leather like cross things with the spikes on it, leather pants, and a big dildo. and a rabbit head.
Rabbit head?
Yeah, just get fucking weird. So the place was packed. I mean, just get in the mosh pit and he's fucking slanging this dildo all over everybody. Bill and Magoo.
I don't think I made that part.
Magoo's up there going like ding 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 ding. I don't know if you ever hung out with that dude, but that guy's a lot of fun.
We met some.
You were there.
Cool
I'm pretty
people.
sure you were there.
Yeah.
When was this?
My memory's bad. Cincinnati at the bike show, dealer show.
Okay.
It was only open to people in the industry.
Okay.
It's a lot. It was a lot. Like, it was a little bit like how Mama Tried. Like I take a lot about Mama Tried from those like little.
Okay.
Those little episodes,
This is like the early days of like the Biltwell lowbrow like beginnings days.
Yeah. When they were out there like courting drag and Parts Unlimited and Custom Chrome to try to get the helmets in their shit. So they had first set up a big space at this convention center, and we were doing the Limp Nicky thing, and like I'd have my parts in this little area, and I don't know, it's cool. It felt special, and we were doing something, trying.
Sure, absolutely, put some effort in it. One of the first things I remember about that show in Cincinnati, there was anything and everything with engines and wheels. I saw a guy going down the sidewalk one time on a skateboard. Have you ever seen those boats in Taiwan where they got these big sticks with a motor on it and a propeller on it?
We're gonna ride on one.
This guy had a motor on it with wheels, and he was going down the sidewalk, hell bent for a ladder. It was cool. It was really cool. But it got old because it wasn't just Harley. They mixed in anything and everything, and I wasn't interested in anything but Harley. And then after a while, they would put all the Harley guys in one spot and all the other shit somewhere else. But It was fun seeing some of that other stuff. I mean, because people are nuts. They come up with some crazy shit.
Well, were things, I mean, since you on that subject, like were things divided that way, like in the 70s and 60s, 70s, 80s? Was it like there was Harley people and then there was like everything else?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because when I was coming up, that's the way it was. And
we call them Jap Ickies.
Oh God, my heart fucking skipped a beat. I was wondering what he was gonna say. Jesus.
But
Thank you.
everybody's got their favorite bike, and then I don't put anybody down anymore. It's just fun.
It's different. It's a different world now.
It is. It's
and
totally
everything's
All that stuff's still around though, right? Like,
yeah, of course. But I feel like things are like all these different styles are melded a little bit
They
more,
are,
and there's a lot
absolutely.
more overlap.
Look at these bikes up here.
Yeah.
That one salt flat bike. Those are Triumph motors, right?
yeah.
That thing is kick ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyler's
He was doing
bike.
152 miles an hour in the salt, and he crashed it. Effed up the whole front end. He would have had the record too at 152.
Can't imagine crashing. at
Twin
that
engine
speed.
Triumph.
Yeah, it's
I was
badass.
talking to DL about it, and I said, "You probably like to ride this thing, wouldn't you?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to. That'd be fucking great."
Why is DL a British guy?
No, he just likes to go
He's
fast.
just crazy.
All right, yeah. Well, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's a motorcycle with 2 wheels and 2
Yeah,
engines.
exactly.
Tell him about
Fuck
that
yeah.
that truck you and DL built.
Oh yeah, we built a hot rod. I'll
Yeah.
never do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
That thing was so low. It was like was it a truck body?
Yeah, it was a Model A truck,
Model
like
A truck
a
body. It had a flat
1930.
head. I did the valve job on the head. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Me and him went for a ride along the neighborhood and going down by the lake. I love going test riding down by the lake. And they hit speed bumps. We got stuck on a speed bump. That thing was so low. We had to push it backwards and get out of there. That was funny.
Yeah, that was when I first met Craig Rodsmith. He had a shop down the street, and I was working with this Ken, who passed away recently, Tattoo Ken.
Okay.
He helped me with a lot of the suspension and like dialing in the frame and getting all set up. And then I struggled with the tranny and the motor at the shop, and then finally found Craig, and Craig helped me take it all the way. He did the paint and the body work, and
I did not know that.
helped me wire it and set it all
Craig's
up.
a good guy. Yeah.
That was when you were in high school?
No,
that was after
No, it was
college.
when I was working for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the same time when we
All right.
started
I did not know
fabricating
that.
stuff.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
forgot
how we
about
first met Craig. He
okay.
went over to get something welded for whatever he was doing, and
What was Craig doing then? Was he doing what he's doing now? Like
Yeah,
just building
same thing.
crazy shit?
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Same shop. Yeah.
Now he's blossomed more because he's got sponsorships, from welding
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I got hooked up with Haas Museum. He's doing great. Guys like that need to be supported by Haas, the Haas's of the world.
Right.
It's like
Right.
You need to have benefactors like that.
the art. Yeah, is it benefactor? Is that the word?
Yeah.
The
And just do your thing.
patron of the arts.
The only Aussie I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun
He's
talking
rad.
to him.
Yeah.
Is he here?
He's
Have
a
you
good
seen him?
egg.
I haven't seen him.
He helped Carolina with that
Yeah.
bike.
He was here at
turned
the
out
last
really
show.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's usually here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure
had
he's
a bike
floating
here
around
last
somewhere.
show. You should know.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
No, he doesn't
No,
have
he's
one.
not.
He doesn't
No,
have
he's
a
not
bike
here
in
this
this year's show.
Right. He did last time though.
He has an open. Some people have an open invitation. He does, and he usually brings stuff.
Always.
Cabana Dan always brings
Yeah.
stuff.
We can try to
cool
hook up
stuff.
with him, and I think he'll be our good a good ambassador for us in Italy. So maybe we can do it.
Yeah.
Mama tried Italy.
Yeah.
Italian Mama tried.
Yeah, that would
He's got one of
that'd be
those
lovely.
minds that's very creative.
Yes.
I love it too because his shop it's so rudimentary.
It's a disaster.
There's nothing
Really?
in there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He doesn't have all
he
state of the art equipment.
No,
and like,
he's got some equipment now because they're giving it to him,
Right.
sponsorships. But when he first started, that thing was like a dingy dungeon.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
shit
it's so
everywhere.
cool.
As
It's still working.
disorganized as I am.
It's awesome. That's probably why Junior liked him so much in the beginning.
And he was so helpful. He just he bent over backwards.
He's
and
got so much positive attitude.
Yeah, and then I transfer that into my life. I'm going to help whoever I can.
Which is why, and I think that overlaps on this because we and you sort of vocalized this in the beginning. It doesn't matter what. It matters. You have to have a motorcycle that's decent, but it's really about the personality of the person, not necessarily the bike
Yeah.
that they build. It's what they bring to the table in the world, what kind of vibes they put out, and that's more important than the bike that they build.
Yeah.
I think some people maybe don't understand that. I think if you come to the show a couple of years, you start to figure out it's like, what's this doing here? It's like there's something that's maybe not so good next to something that's like super amazing, and you're like, I don't understand what the relationship is, but I think after a while people get it.
Yeah, it would be easy to just call on the biggest names to come out, right? But that's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be boring.
Yeah.
Who was that guy you set me up with that bike that was at the last show that was just like a piece of jewelry? And he told me everything he did to that motor.
Oh, yeah. It's
CT Newman.
Yeah, Newman. My God, the brain on that guy. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Twin turbos, and he's telling me about the flywheels and the rods and the pistons.
I couldn't even listen. Like halfway through the conversation, I'm like, I just overload. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I sat there just in amazement. My eyes were wide.
Well, there's just, you can't, everywhere you look is like just, 100 hours of work.
Yeah,
it's
it was
like,
beautiful.
Yeah,
just beautiful.
The guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, no question.
And so unbecoming.
So are you two. This show is really awesome.
Well, thanks.
Thanks,
You're
Dad.
welcome.
I think I've said this a lot of times, but it takes a lot of people, and I think it's a lot of different personalities and what they contribute to
It's a community, for
yeah,
sure.
it is. And I think that's really important and can't be overstated. I say it a lot, but it's really true. It's like even you guys helping out yesterday, getting all the bikes upstairs, checked in, arranged, set up. And the same thing when I went over to Fiserv, you go down in the pits, and they got, 80 volunteers over there to help make that thing work, plus all those racers, getting everyone checked in, set up, arranged, get the schedule
Yeah, and if
going.
somebody in the pits needs a hand from somebody else, they're right there, Johnny, on the spot,
Yeah,
willing to
exactly.
help.
Yep.
Even if they're racing against them, they don't care. Just get it done.
Yep, exactly. I think Jeremy's really good
cool.
at curating that sort of vibe.
Yeah, Jeremy is awesome.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
We get so busy with all this stuff, we don't get to catch the rider meetings, which is like really, I feel like the most important part of Flat Out Friday.
Yeah.
But I remember catching one of them one time, and his theme that year is "This is not about you," and there was like signs all over the pits being like, "This is not about you." Like help the guy next to you if you see someone struggling.
Right.
Yeah. Your shit stinks. Yeah. What were some of the other signs that he had?
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
You are not the center of the universe. Yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah. He's good at that. I like.
Yeah. So
he's a teacher, so he's
a character. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I like today, like this morning, he comes walking in, and he's just got that like Flat Out Friday is over thing going on. He's like,
he's up there spinning tunes right now.
Yeah, he's just like he's in his zone right now. He's just like he just wants to play music and just like hang out and enjoy the vibe of.
He played a cheap trick song, and I'm sure he did it for me.
He did.
I loved it.
I know there's some Alice
I
Cooper
gave him
on deck
thumbs up
too.
on that one. Yeah. Not to mention Alice, my favorite guy.
Well, yeah, you guys were the ones who.
Love Alice.
I'm not into Alice Cooper like you guys are, but.
I wonder if he's ever played the rave.
Well, I asked Brian that today when we took us down to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Which was totally amazing. I got pictures of the boys sliding down in the pool, and of course there was no water in it. And I didn't even know there was a pool here until yesterday. Somebody told me that. And Brian, he couldn't have been nicer. I mean, telling us the history of this whole building, and this place is just the coolest building I've been in a long, long time.
Yeah. And awesome. The staff's great.
Oh man.
Joe.
It's
Rad.
everybody here has been so helpful since we got moved over here.
Absolutely.
It was a godsend that we were able to find this place after getting kicked out of those warehouses. So
Yeah, that got old, didn't it?
Yeah. Man.
But they were all a moment in time too.
Yeah, exactly. That was perfect for what we were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would have kept doing it if the city hadn't put the kibosh on it, but it was great that they took us in over here. And
well, I hear that the guy who owns this place is quite a character.
oh man, I mean,
He should be on one of these podcasts.
We should get him up here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Somebody needs to follow that guy around for like a week with a tape recorder and just like listen to the stories. I mean, the stories that
could you
Joe
imagine?
starts telling about being in the
the pool
entertainment
room,
business.
all the walls are covered with autographs from all the bands because they would go through the pool room to get into their
Dressing room.
Their dressing rooms. That's
Yep.
the word I was looking for.
Yep.
And they'd sign the walls. And if they sold the place out, they were invited to go down into the pool and sign the wall inside the pool.
All right, that's the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
They haven't put water in it since the 80s.
Yeah, it's mythological
Yeah.
in the rock and roll world. That
When
pool.
I heard Brian was going to take his son down there to see it, I'm like, I'm going with you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That was
It's
way
like
cool.
a folklore
Yeah.
kind
Way
of deal.
cool.
I remember coming to this place in the early '90s when Joe bought it, and it was a fucking dump.
Yeah,
I mean,
I bet.
it was just falling apart and just falling down, and just a dump. I mean, how it wasn't condemned, I have no idea.
Well, it's a lot like the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago. In fact, I think they were both built around the same time. And the Aragon Ballroom was a dump and still is a dump. I haven't been there in 20 years, but man, I saw Lou Reed there one time. That was
really?
That was a highlight of my career.
When was that?
My music viewing. God, who knows? My memory is not that good.
Lou Reed.
But he had a bottle of Jack Daniels on stage that he polished off by the time the night was over.
Whoa.
Damn.
Crazy, man.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
I could swear on the ceiling of that place there were clouds that were moving. Now, maybe I was just too high. I don't know. But I'm like staring up there looking at these clouds moving.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I heard a couple cans in the cooler moved earlier today from one of our other buddies, Tavis.
Yeah.
So I swear them cans moved on their own.
I saw them.
Oh, you saw them.
They rotated.
Sweet.
Couldn't be the psychedelics. It's just.
That's why I don't do mushrooms. I stick to the gummies, you know?
Right on.
The pot is good for the old guy.
Yeah,
I can't smoke it anymore because my lungs are like bad.
Yeah, you need to
the
eat way
gummies
more
are good.
pot.
I got a good customer who grows his own, and he makes me brownies and cookies, and
Perfect.
yeah, I can't get any better than that.
All right. Well,
What do you think?
I think it's
enough?
really been a joy to have you guys up
Well,
here
thank
and
you
tell
for
some stories.
having me, for sure.
Let's
I
do
enjoyed
it again. Sit down in front of a tape recorder and get some more stories.
Well, I know Junior tried to get Uncle Wayne and Uncle Lurch to do this with us, but Lurch is like, back then he was 250 pounds and there wasn't an inch of fat on him. Now he's 450 pounds and can't get out of his chair. And Wayne just will not go anywhere.
Oh man!
Unless you drag.
Well, we'll come
He's
to
a great
we'll
guy,
come to
though.
Wayne then. We'll
he'll
come
give
to
you
Wayne.
the shirt off his back,
And
but
Lurch.
he ain't moving anywhere.
All right. Well, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. We'll
Yeah,
come to
it's
them.
like- yeah.
They're worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one day maybe I'll make it up here.
We'd have
All
to
right.
go to Lurch's house if you wanted to get him broadcast.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was
Thanks
fun.
a lot, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All
Absolutely.
right. This is Warren Heir Jr. and Warren
Yep.
Heir Sr.
Signing off.
Thanks, Frazier.
Motherfucker over here and this motherfucker over here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our friend Frazier.
Who's got some real lady moves, I'm telling you. I was watching him.
Did he do this one? Hey, that's that's nice. What material
he
is
got
that?
that girl to dance, and he was holding her breasts the whole time they were dancing together.
Prom dancing.
What material is? Oh, she's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, what material is that? She's like, I don't know. It's boyfriend material.
He is quite the ladies' man. It was fun watching his moves. Thank you for that.
Nice job.